Good afternoon. I'm Matt McLean in the Show Me Live Weather Center. Thanks for joining us. We are having a little bit of a technical difficulty trying to get into the main radio station, but we are here live on the streaming channels. We do have a tornado warning that has been issued for southeastern Washington County until 1 o'clock. Now, or until 1:15, I should say. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Mineral Point, or 5 miles northeast of Potosi, moving off to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. This is a radar indicated tornado at this particular point, and we are working again to get our radio station's side to cooperate with this. A little bit of a rebooting situation on one of the computers that's attached to our radio station, and hopefully we'll be able to sign in on that in just a moment. But for right now, here on social media, we do have locations impacted, including Potosi, Mineral Point, Old Mines, Cadet, and Shirley, as well as Washington State Park. So for those of you in and around this area, that tornado warning is going to continue. What you're seeing right now is basically something called a storm relative velocity. It helps us see where there may be any potential rotation. Not anything huge to write home about with regard to a major area of rotation, but for the moment, we are looking at the possibility that there is enough rotation there that the National Weather Service is concerned and has prompted a tornado warning for this area. And again, it stops right at the Washington and county line with St. Francis and portions of Jefferson County as well. If those of you in and around northern St. Francis County and southern Jefferson County, you may be wanting to be on the lookout for right now until some things kind of calm down just a touch there, and life hopefully can get back to a sense of normal. But for this moment in time, this is basically what we are looking at. I'm going to put this over onto the high-res reflectivity here, put this into motion, show you kind of what's going on there. And you can actually more easily pick out potentially the notch that they are referring to. It's a little bit more clear, believe it or not, on radar return. So in this little area right here, as I can go ahead and wipe that back off, is an area that is the point of concern, or at least predominantly that would probably be the little notch that they're concerned about. And it would actually be a little bit more in line with this particular storm cell to see something like that. So that tornado warning continues up until 1:15. And it is at this particular point in time, that is the area of concern. We're going to monitor this, stay on the line so long as this warning is in effect and or any additional potential warnings. This is something that we have been monitoring now for a while, even back when it was in Springfield, Missouri, prompting a few tornado warnings. It has held on to its strength for the most part all the way back into places like Springfield. You can almost see right along I-44 these little black circles with like what looks like a home on the inside. That's reported damage. These other numbers, which there were a lot more earlier, but we have a timer on them for them to dissipate after a certain period of time, even a confirmed 90 mile per hour wind gust. And again, these are the same storm cells that rolled through Springfield couple of hours ago, creating some problems there. And now we have this potential tornado. It's a radar indicated tornado at this particular point with a severe thunderstorm warning attached all around it. So for you folks, again, Potosi, Mineral Point, Old Mines, Cadet, and Shirley, Washington State Park, in and around this area, basically the area flashing in red, this is the main point of concern. Taking a little bit of a quicker look here, that was Statute Sweep just went through there to provide a bit of an update, and I'm trying to get Delbridge Road. I thought that's what that was. I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes when you zoom in, you think you're zooming in on a spot and you couldn't, and you don't necessarily, you sometimes get it wrong. So this is the area, again, that is of major concern. And let's moving it back to the relative velocity at this particular point. We aren't seeing a huge amount of rotation right now. That is about 3 minutes old, so it's not something that is old at this point. So that area of rotation, that we're talking about here, it is not highly pronounced. A lot of times, whenever you get into an area of concern, there is a pretty dominant area of rotation. What you're looking at right now, there's something called a correlation coefficient. More or less, it looks for lack of a better term, for simplicity, a debris field. Is there any debris that the radar is picking up from a potential storm beyond dust and possibly some migratory flock of birds that may literally be disturbed because of the storm? Radar can actually pick that up. And so there's not really any kind of a big debris area in any way, shape, or form that would indicate something potentially being on the ground. Nevertheless, this is what's looking right now. Now, they have updated this as of about 60 seconds ago. Tornado warning remains in effect, and this was about 7 miles northeast of Mineral Point or 8 miles northwest of Bonne Terre, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. This again remains radar indicated rotation at this point. So the area or the notch of concern, it's about the spot there. Again, 50 miles per hour to the northeast. Let's go ahead and see what we can get onto the radar system as of this point. You're looking right now in Lake Timberline about 11 minutes. You're looking at Silver Springs in 12 minutes, Halifax in 15 minutes, Valley Mines in 15, Oakville in about 20, Flucom in about 21, Olympian Village in about 22 minutes. Again, not in hugely heavily populated areas, but it is most definitely our coverage area and something that we pay very close and particular concern to as of the things that are moving out and about. Now, as far as anything else, a thunderstorm warning does remain in effect, but even that will probably potentially be trimmed back simply because the storm is moving out of the warned area as of this point. So one thing that we are going to be monitoring is whether or not they continue to extend the tornado warning and move it past the Washington County line. They have trimmed it back out of Washington County, but we are going to keep looking for this to see exactly what is going to be taking place here with regard to all of that. You folks in Potosi right now, or Springtown, even Mineral Point, Potosi and Springtown for sure, Bates Creek camp area there, you are basically in the clear of any rotation, still under a thunderstorm warning just west of town along Highway AA toward the YMCA Trout Lodge, along 185 there past Laddie. Still some heavy thunderstorm activity that is keeping a prompted thunderstorm warning right there, but the tornado warned area of rotation at this point is more or less approaching in and around the Cadet area, Frenchtown toward Tiff and Happy Hollow, basically right along Highway 47 between Bonne Terre and just north of Potosi, where that highway comes to an end right there. So this is the area of concern. I know if you're just joining us and you flipped it over onto our online channels, you're wondering why on earth are you playing music on Show Me Live? We are having a bit of a technical issue with one of the computers attached to the station, not allowing me to get into that and take off the music and put our signal on here. But nevertheless, multiple channels and multiple avenues and multiple ways of getting the warnings at this particular point. And so we went ahead and activated all of our other channels that were able to pass along information to you. And then, like I said, the moment that this computer works itself out and figures out that it wants to operate for today, well, we will, of course, bring that on to our radio station as well. But for those of you in and around, let's say Highway 8, just north of the Hopewell area, basically in the clear with regard to anything along those lines. And again, for the most part, not a huge amount of rotation. You can see they've actually allowed the tornado warning to go ahead and expire early. The tornado, at this particular point, we are going to keep monitoring that and keep you informed of everything that takes place here. I'm going to keep it right here for just a moment. The thunderstorm warning has also been removed for this particular storm. So I'm going to wait and see right now if they reissue some things with any regard to northern St. Francis County or southern Jefferson County at this point. We should be able to receive some additional information here shortly if that is where we are going to be moving towards. So let me take a look one more time here, get a secondary source to make sure that we have covered everything efficiently for you all, and to let you all know kind of anything that may be going on here. And so as of right now, basically it is, yeah, the National Weather Service website itself also dropping the tornado warning as well as the thunderstorm warning, and more or less what they are saying as of this point with regard to why they've allowed the warnings to drop. At this point, double checking here, not really showing anything as of a major reason. So as of this point, I'm going to assume that it has weakened down below the threshold of what they consider to be severe, however, not by much. And because this has prompted warnings for quite a while, for the last several hours, across southern and southeast Missouri, we're going to be watching that very carefully to see if that spins up any more at any point in time during in our listening area as of this point, or in our service area. So for those of you, if I'm not mistaken, they have. So for those of you in and around, let's say Dent County, Shannon County, places off to the west from there, Rolla, Phelps County, the thunderstorm watch has even been allowed to expire early. The watch remains in effect for basically Crawford, Iron, Reynolds, Carter County, and off to the east from there. For now, we will wait and see if they expand that as we make our way out and about. I'll tell you what we are a little bit concerned about for those of you in Perry and Madison County and Wayne County. I keep saying this, it seems like all spring long. There is an area of concern there. We'll wait and see what the National Weather Service office in Paducah, St. Louis handles Reynolds and Madison County there, Paducah handling Wayne and Perry County. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But I am a little bit more concerned right now with any of those areas right now than I am obviously with Washington County. The storm has moved out, and in St. Francis County, it is below the minimum threshold to prompt any kind of a warning. So we will, of course, be monitoring everything right here. And as we get additional information, we will pass that along to you. What I'm going to do right now, for those of you watching and streaming all of this, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to leave the radar up, pull the volume down. You'll be able to kind of see what's going on, and if additional warnings are warranted, and I strongly suspect possibly Madison and maybe Perry County, we will turn the microphones right back on and be right here for those of you in those areas. But we will go ahead and leave the stream going for right now to kind of let you know, be able to basically see it for yourself. You may see us moving some things around, zooming in on some things, pulling off different types of screens during that time frame, but that's okay. That means we're monitoring things very carefully. But for now, I'm Matt McLean in the Show Me Live Weather Center. We may be back on very shortly. The stream will continue. We'll just have the radar up and going. All right, not at all surprised to see a thunderstorm warning there popping out for those of you in and around Madison and portions of St. Francis County. Let's go ahead and get right on into it, as well as St. Genevieve County. Severe thunderstorm warning until 1:30 this afternoon. A severe thunderstorm was located near Cobalt or near Fredericktown, moving to the northeast at 35 miles an hour. This is radar indicated as of this point. So we'll be monitoring this very cautiously, obviously. And there is no, unlike the one that was in Washington County a few minutes ago, it had a tornado possible tag attached to it. This one does not have that as of right now. Up to an inch, which is basically quarter size, 25 cents quarter there. And then 60-mile-an-hour winds are possibilities with this particular thunderstorm warning. And again, that is going to remain in effect up until 1:30 p.m. So this is kind of what we're looking at, and that's everything that we've got going on right now. That thunderstorm warning will continue, and like I said, we'll be passing that information along as it becomes available. And Matt McLean once again here at the Show Me Live Weather Center. We now have another tornado warning that has been issued. This one is for St. Genevieve County and Randolph County in southwestern Illinois. St. Genevieve, obviously, in Missouri until 1:45. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Bloomsdale, or 9 miles northwest of St. Genevieve, moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. This is radar indicated rotation. So if you happen to live in this area, these areas here that you're seeing on the screen, this is an area that you're going to want to be very concerned about, and obviously taking a shelter as appropriate with wherever it is that you are happen to be. Let's go over to storm relative velocity. You can see rotation a little bit easier on this type of a situation than the storms from Washington County as of this point. And so kind of what we're looking at here is a little bit of a notch, kind of an inflow kind of a situation. This is a little bit more classic. And so that is the area that is of concern. It's just a counterclockwise rotation at this point. And so those of you in this particular path, let me get that speed one more time. It is moving off to the east at 35 miles an hour. So let me zoom out just a little bit here. Excuse me. And get into a little bit more of a community type of a situation here. Moving off to the northeast at 35 miles an hour. So here is what we're talking about. We are talking about Zell in 4 minutes, St. Genevieve in 13, Kellogg is 14, Roots in 21 minutes, Old Kaskaskia in 24, Fort Gage in 26, New Palestine in 34, and Walsh in 35 minutes. But that is kind of the gist of what we are looking at right now. So this tornado warning does remain in effect currently, and so this is an area of concern. Now, like we said, we've been leaving the stream going, expecting further warnings to be issued, and indeed that is exactly what has happened. And as you can see, there are power outages and reports of storm damage behind these storms. Law enforcement reporting a roof was blown off a school. So these storms are a big deal. That would be from the Potosi area, 1 mile southeast of southeast of Potosi. Potentially, that would be the elementary school right there on P Highway. And I don't want to totally highlight that, but that's more or less where the school would be in and around that area. So this is something to be taken seriously right now, and to make sure that we are looking at all of the different alerts and all of the different things of this as of this point. I'm going to pull off the watches because sometimes power outages kind of give you, a good indication of what's going on right now. And we do have some power outages going on, no question. Let me zoom that. There we go. So we do have some power outages across the area from some of these storms. It's a big deal because that means there's some truth to what the radar is showing. And so with that truth, it is creating damage. And again, that roof being blown off the school at this point in Potosi, while it was under a tornado warning, is something of an area of concern. We have a brand new thunderstorm warning as well. This is going to be for Bollinger, Wayne, and Cape Girardeau counties until 1:45, 60 mile per hour winds and penny size hail. This is radar indicated right now. So for those of you in and around, again, St. Genevieve County, as well as Randolph County in Illinois, and then also for southeast Missouri, we are looking at thunderstorm warnings there for those three counties just mentioned as well. There's not a huge amount of stuff to write home about with regard to anything past this. It is a little bit of rain, but that's about it. As this line moves through, the thunderstorm watch boxes are getting dropped. We've just got to get through this particular line. So those of you, let's say, if we've got a camera here, I believe this is an emergency management. Yeah, Stoddard County Emergency Management. This is one of their counties there in Stoddard County, one of the leading edges of some of the storms, and definitely some ominous looking clouds as of right now. And there, Stoddard County is not even under a warning, but it is fixated on that the southern tip of that line as it is moving off to the east. This tornado warning already showing a little bit of a paring down, which is also good news, remains in effect until 1:45, and that is a weather spotters did report a funnel cloud southeast of Bloomsdale. This is now an observed warning. This is a confirmed tornado as of this point, southeast of Bloomsdale. So for those of you just joining us, we do have a confirmation now of a potential tornado on the ground as of this point in time. So let's flip this over to some base reflectivity. Let's see what we're able to find. Maybe I can pull off getting some high res, and we are seeing again some areas there. If for nothing else, some pretty doggone high winds being reported out of some of these areas here. But you can see the reds and the greens. Reds is one direction, green another direction, as the radar is seeing the winds in the atmosphere. So when you have that and you have a little bit more of a tighter rotation, well, then that's what you're looking at right here. If this is truth to cause and moving off in a direction expected, there would be some rotation right now in and around this particular area right here, the Prairie du Rocher area, but I'm not going to rule out basically just north of St. Genevieve. Let's put this into motion because we're not entirely sure of the exact moment. It could be directly above and to the north of St. Genevieve, or it could also be basically near the Prairie du Rocher area, a couple of areas of concern for when it comes to this type of rotation. So we are monitoring that again and taking a look. I'm going to flip it over to the Paducah radar and see. No, it's just outside of that area that it is able to see for right now. Sometimes atmospherically speaking, gets a little bit easier to see than others. So we do have this. Let's see if we've got another sweep coming in here. That rotation, a little bit of a spin up, but that's just about it. Nothing to write too much home about there with regard to all of this. I am a little concerned about that roof being ripped off, blown off of a school. And again, right around that 12:29 p.m., we were on the air during that time, under an active tornado warning. But whether or not it was high winds or tornado damage remains to be seen at this point. We're just going to monitor that, and we will let you know as stuff becomes available. Those of you in and around Cape Girardeau, as well as just to the east of Greenville and northeast of Greenville, and basically right along the Madison-Bollinger County line and off to the east. I recognize that the thunderstorm area of concern is still in southeastern Madison County. Now, understand, those of you in Fredericktown and off points to the south toward the Wayne County line, the Marquand area, this is a different warning office. You're under the St. Louis jurisdiction, Bollinger County off to the Paducah jurisdiction when it comes to National Weather Service offices. So you kind of see that polygon warning drawn out just a little strangely there, and that's why. So we're going to monitor that very carefully and kind of keep things moving along there as we make our way here to find out some additional information. I'm going to pull the Paducah radar. It is showing some pretty heavy returns and some pretty intense thunderstorm activity. And again, that tornado warning as well with the observed tornado on the ground as of last check. I'm going to see if there's any more information here. No, this was just a few minutes ago. Weather spotters reported funnel clouds southeast of Bloomsdale. This was about 5 minutes ago, so we're going to give that a little bit more time there, southeast. So more or less, those of you in St. Genevieve City, county as well, but the city of St. Genevieve proper itself is the area of concern with some of this type of rotation. Let me see if we can see a little bit better rotation here. Not a lot to write home about. Let's see if we see a bit of a debris field currently to see what we've got going on here. And again, not a lot of any kind of a debris core or signature there on the radar that would indicate debris being pulled up into the atmosphere from tornadic activity. There's just not a huge amount of anything to write home about. Literally, some of these brighter colors that you may be seeing could quite literally be flocks of birds. And I'm not joking when I say that maybe got disturbed by the storm rolling through. Could also be some dust in the air. We just don't simply know. But there's not really a core signature unless it would be this area right here. But honestly, that would not necessarily line up with the direction of this storm and where the Weather Service was reporting a confirmed funnel cloud at this point. That just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So yeah, that doesn't, we're just going to have to just look at that and say there's something, possibly a little bit of dust up in the air or whatever the case. It could be heavy tree pollen for all that we know. The radars are quite sensitive in that nature, really can't even pick up swarms of bugs. It's to that sensitivity. So this is an area. Let's look at this sweep here and see what we've got, and see if there's anything else out there going on with regard to all of the different aspects here. So that tornado warning, and those of you under the thunderstorm warning in Bollinger and the other counties there, we're not forgetting you, but we do have a potentially confirmed tornado on the ground. An observed tornado tag is what it is, because of that funnel cloud being reported by weather spotters in Bloomsdale, or just southeast of Bloomsdale. Again, this is something that we want to provide that focus on, but you folks in Cape County, Bollinger, and very northeastern Wayne County, you're under that thunderstorm warning as well. So two separate warnings that we have going on. Storm damage reported in Potosi, several hundred customers without power. Remember, a customer could be a family of four, a business, or a single person living in an apartment. And it's so these are the bare minimum numbers of people, because they are customers of 445. That's a very important fact to always remember in those aspects. So any kind of rotation at this point, that is out of St. Louis. Again, let me see if Evansville, and I think it's probably too far. It is. It technically can see that point, but there's really no rotation there. We're going to try Paducah, see if it can see any rotation. It cannot. No, it's not really seeing much of anything there. St. Louis is a good radar source for any kind of a wind, looking fairly strong there with regard to its returns. And again, possibly some pretty heavy high winds, even outside the storm warned area for a tornado warning. But as of this particular point, not, again, a huge amount of anything to write home about with regard to obvious rotation, but that doesn't mean that it isn't there. And that also does not mean that you should treat that as an all clear. By no means is that the case, especially with trained weather spotters reporting a funnel cloud southeast of Bloomsdale. That is something to be very cautious about as well. So those of you in and around this area, this is an area of concern. And obviously for those of you basically from Jackson off to the west from there, and the thunderstorm warning, that's kind of what we're looking at in and around these areas. For those of you basically off to the north of Zalma, zooming in just a touch more, Sedgwickville, obviously in the path of this Marble Hill, basically right along Highway 34. I was actually through there just a couple of weeks ago on my way to some other portions of southeast Missouri. And we do have a slight update back to radar indicated tornado with this warning, and it does remain in effect until 1:45 for Randolph and east central St. Genevieve County. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located along a line from near Evansville to 6 miles south of St. Genevieve, or along a line from 6 miles south of Redbud to 6 miles south of St. Genevieve, moving to the east at 50 miles an hour. Radar indicated back to that type of a rotation as they have updated this particular warning. For those of you in and around, we're going to push this off to the Paducah site. Now, for those of you in and around Bollinger County, definitely under the gun for this particular thunderstorm. And for those of you in central and western Cape Girardeau County, you are under that thunderstorm warning as well. Even though radar is not showing anything as of yet, you've got plenty of advance warning. We are seeing a lot more in this the past several weeks of blanket warnings. And that could be potentially from additional layoffs at the National Weather Service offices. We just not exactly sure. That's a little bit abnormal prior to the past few weeks of how things are offered. And this is more or less a polygon warning that just encompasses more than one county. It's not terribly unusual at this point, but I know last week when we were doing coverage, we had several hundred miles throughout Missouri and Arkansas with just a straight line of nothing but thunderstorm warnings and a few tornado warnings as well. So we're just going to have to monitor this, and we'll pass that along to you as we get there. Those of you in and around, let me get my bearings here. So the city of St. Genevieve still under that tornado warning. Prairie to Rocher, the potential rotation would have passed you or pretty darn close by now. Let me zoom in. Yeah, you are just outside the polygon warning there, but again, some heavy rain, nothing to sneeze at, maybe even seeing some high winds. So for those of you in and around that area, we do still have just a small portion of the county of St. Genevieve and the city of St. Genevieve under a tornado warning, as well as portions of southwest Illinois, radar indicated as of this point. And that's kind of what we're looking at there. Randolph County Central until 1:45 p.m. So that is, again, radar indicated. We don't have any additional truth to the ground, so to speak. In other words, eyeballs. That has confirmed an additional funnel cloud on that beyond the initial trained weather spotter, and we certainly appreciate them. We've got one in our own midst, Kyle Douglas, who normally joins us in some of these things as well. So for those of you just joining us, this is kind of what we've got going on with the tornado warning. And that is an area that we're going to keep monitoring right there. And for those of you wondering, why on earth are we not on the radio station side, the streaming apps and whatnot? Well, we're having a technical issue with one of our computers that allows us to send information in. And because of that, we are not able to actually flip the switch. Now, we're giving it a digital kick in the side, if you will, at this moment to see what's going to happen, but that's been ongoing for about 30 minutes. So we're working on that technical issue. We certainly apologize for that, but here on our social media sides and all of our different aspects and abilities to view and watch, we are very much in the strong aspect here, and we apologize to those of you wanting to listen on the app. The computer is, we're working on that, and so our sincere apologies to you in and around this area. So we're going to keep it here for just a little bit longer. Back again to that radar indicated rotation here as of this point, and just kind of go on from there in and around the area there and seeing what we can come up with. So I think this particular area right now, the vast area of concern for rotation is potentially crossing over the Mississippi or has just crossed over the Mississippi. I say that because the radar returns are a couple of minutes old, and this is moving to the east at 50 miles an hour. And so, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it's going to move almost a mile a minute there. So you're looking at the effective current returns just slightly behind schedule because of all of that. So let me see if I can get one more area there. There's definitely some high winds, no question, in any way, shape, or form. No question at all, at least with this particular storm that we are seeing. So for those of you in and around, again, the St. Genevieve area, as well as now into Randolph County in southwestern Illinois, this is where the tornado warning happens to be. And again, we have that thunderstorm warning, which has been pared back a touch as well. Let's flip over to that and see what the latest is here. Remains in effect until 1:45 for Bollinger and basically central and western Cape Girardeau counties. Severe thunderstorm located along a line extending from near Patton to 6 miles southwest of Leopold, moving to the east at 50. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and penny-size hail. Radar indicated expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. That's what we're looking at there. And so, again, we do have some reported storm damage. There is a lot of truth to the wind reports, and by that I just simply mean confirmed truth. Again, a roof was apparently blown off of a school, according to law enforcement, And the only school building that I can think of that would be 1 mile southeast of Potosi, but it's really not even a mile, would be the Potosi Elementary School. Again, law enforcement reporting this, a roof blown off the school. So we have some truth to the ground here as far as storm damage. Now, with all the area around Springfield, Missouri, there off to your left-hand side of your screen, that's a lot of power outages going on. Currently, about 25,000, almost half of Springfield, Greene County, but the Springfield city area is without power right now. So a lot of truth to storm damage with this line of storms. Those storms that now have the thunderstorm and tornado warnings here in southeast Missouri and southwest Illinois, that was in southern and southwestern Missouri a few hours ago, and that's the situation. In fact, a confirmed 90-mile-per-hour wind gust being reported in and around the Springfield area earlier. Now we have a roof confirmed being blown off of a school in Potosi as the storms were blowing through there and prompting warnings. And so, again, area of concern. Tornado possible tag with this brand new thunderstorm warning. This is for Randolph County until 2:15. Severe thunderstorms located along a line from over Red Bud to near St. Mary, or along a line from over Red Bud to 11 miles southwest of Chester, moving to the east now, slowing down in motion, 35 miles an hour. That's going to, fingers crossed, that might help us just a little bit with some of these winds, but maybe not so much the hail. When you got to slow down on the wind, sometimes you have a little bit more of an uptick in some of a hail core type of a situation. Now that we've got some additional sweeps with the radar, and we have basically a replacement of the tornado warning with a thunderstorm warning that has a tornado possible threat tag to it. These are the things that we are looking at to kind of see what we've got going on. I'm going to go back to see if we see any kind of a debris. No, not seeing any kind of a debris. Let's see if we see any kind of hail. And let's see, this actually is about 10 minutes old, but definitely some potential hail there with these signs of storms or these storms that are moving through as well. A little bit of a hail core possible. So this is, again, the area of concern that we want to monitor very, very carefully here and keep you ahead of and informed of with how we are going by. So in and around the area, this is the major area of concern. We do expect that tornado warning could potentially be, for lack of a better term, replaced with as the storms move off to the east. Let's put this in motion for just a moment, see what we've kind of got going on. I'm going to flip over to the Paducah site here for just a moment and see. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Let's see what we got going on here. There we go. Let's put this back into motion here and see what we're able to gather from this. Seeing a little bit of a dissipation and weakening potentially of the tornado warned storm as it is moving into the thunderstorm warning area that has the tornado considerable threat tag attached to it. Those of you in around the Jackson, Cape Girardeau city, I mean, you've got a lot moving in your neck of the woods in and around that area. I don't have camera access to that one. Sure would be nice, because that's an interesting little hook there. Not uncommon. Yeah, and that is Bell City right there from Stoddard County Emergency Management. Yeah, not really seeing anything too drastic there with regard to any rotation, but I'm going to watch that in and around the Stoddard County for those basically just west of Advance. That I'm just going to watch it. How about that? We're going to see what happens from there and see what transpires for those of you in the Stoddard County area. That tornado warning for St. Genevieve County and the city of St. Genevieve, it's basically extending just a small area of I-55, but more or less from the Azora exit, maybe about a half mile to a mile south of the Azora exit, all the way to exit 150 there for the St. John Farmington exit. That is where the tornado warning is area. So about 9-10 miles or so of I-55, and even into portions of the city of St. Genevieve and the county itself. For the most part, the area of rotation and or concern has now moved into Randolph County. And again, heavy rain, but with regard to any type of major rotation for the moment, it looks as if that has more or less moved out of the St. Genevieve County / city area as of this point. Now, for those of you in and around the Jackson area, I thought I saw some pretty high. Yeah, I did. Yeah, we are seeing quite. Wow. There's obviously been some truth to surface, truth to ground here with some of these returns that we've seen this afternoon. Again, with the storm damage in Washington County with one of the school buildings there in Potosi. There's a lot of truth to ground here. So those of you in Sedgwickville, you may be seeing those are severe winds. That is definitely some things that are showing up on radar there, and it's arguably close enough to the radar at this point where it should be fairly accurate. That's probably about 1,000, maybe 2,000 feet in the air, maybe 2,500 feet in the air. It is very possible that some of that, if not much of it, could be bursting onto the ground in kind of a bursting situation there, a macro burst of a situation. Getting my tongue tied there. It's a macro burst situation. Possibly it may be making its way to the ground, but nevertheless, very strong winds are a possibility. We also have further confirmation of that, and here's why. We have power outages behind this line of storm, not hugely numerous in nature, but from what is being currently reported so far, it has created some problems. So why would you have power outages unless you've had severe weather and winds moving through that area on a day where you're having severe weather? Well, there you go. There's your at least potential possibility of having some truth to ground there with some of the things that are being reported. So those of you in and around the St. Genevieve County and city of St. Genevieve, the rotation has essentially moved out of your area. I'm looking for that watch box to potentially be dropped here very soon. We'll just have to wait and see exactly when they do that. Let me refresh a screen here in a different location and see what we've got. That warning is still showing as active right now. I'm going to click on one more thing there. That those of you as well in southern Jefferson, southeastern Washington, and northwestern St. Francis County, there is a flood advisory in effect until 4 p.m. for the next couple of hours. Potential flooding there as well that's kind of popped up over because of the storms that have moved through. So again, this is creating a few issues here and there with regard to all of that. So that tornado warning, probably looking for that. I know it's still got 10 more minutes. They may just go ahead and allow that to naturally expire, or they may pull that back here momentarily and it'll just simply disappear from the screen. We now have Bollinger County to add to potential power outages that are being reported and a brand new thunderstorm warning for folks. And this is going to start moving toward out of our area, but basically Perry County, Illinois, Jackson County, which includes Carbondale and SIU Carbondale, obviously, and southeastern Perry County in Missouri, until 2:15 p.m. Still in our viewing and listing area, our coverage area, better way of putting it, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and penny-size hail, moving to the east at 40 miles an hour. So that is, again, for these particular storms, that's what we're looking at. But, again, these storms, we picked up that 60-plus mile-an-hour wind gust on the northern end of this warning, basically the Sedgwickville area, and now we are seeing some reports of power outages being confirmed to potentially provide a little bit of truth to radar and truth to the ground of maybe what some of the high winds are seeing as of this particular point. So we do have a lot of thunderstorm activity, a lot of severe weather, and we're seeing a bit of a trailing now beginning to be created here, more or less over the Puxico area. That is a Stoddard County Emergency Management. Got some dark clouds and a little bit of rain, and that's about it. in and around that area as well. That was a live view, and that's kind of what we're looking at with regard to anything major. Again, nothing severe yet, but if we put this into motion, these things didn't exist about 30 minutes ago, the storms that you're seeing in around the Poplar Bluff area and trailing off into Arkansas. So we're going to watch that for you folks in Sikeston, the Missouri Boot Heel, and we have a brand new severe thunderstorm watch that has been issued. Let's take a look at this for just a moment. Give me just a moment here. Pop open the severe thunderstorm watch and see where it's still active. Okay, the thunderstorm watch box, that's what we've got going on for that. And they have gone ahead and extended that possibly for the Boot Heel of Missouri, but outside our area, western Kentucky and the rest of southern Illinois is where the thunderstorm watch boxes have been extended. There it goes. Just popped on there. So not for the Boot Heel, but basically far western and northwestern Kentucky there, and the rest of southern Illinois, and that'll be in effect till about 7 o'clock this evening. But ultimately, I think we're going to see that get trimmed back just like we did these others much sooner than that. So arguably, that tornado warning that expires in 8 minutes, it is still active. But again, the severe weather that created the rotation to begin with has moved away and has made some moved beyond the St. Genevieve County and St. Genevieve City. We now have expanded thunderstorm warnings as well for those of you in Jackson and the city of Cape Girardeau, excuse me, in Cape Girardeau County, as well as Alexander County. And here's the whole list. Thunderstorm warning in this brand new, and for Union, Jackson, Alexander counties in Illinois, Bollinger, Scott, Perry, and Cape Girardeau counties in Missouri, until 2:30, and we are looking at a line from near Daisy to Advance moving to the east at 40 miles an hour. Folks, for those of you watching and listening and all of that, I know we've got quite a few folks watching and listening right now. There is some truth to what we are seeing with wind damage. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having reports of school roofs being blown off and power outages popping up on our screen as these storms have moved through. So please take it seriously. Power outages are obviously an indication that there are some strong winds, and obviously a roof being blown off, definitely an indication that there is some potential damage with this. That tornado warning has been allowed to expire, and so that is good news. We don't have, I'm going to move through the different warnings here. The only one with a potential tornado possible threat tag is the one that basically replaced the tornado warning just a little bit ago. Could that turn into another tornado warning? Yes, it could. And if it does, it would probably be just outside our coverage area for us to be able to really kind of do a lot on that. So here's what we're looking at again. These are the thunderstorm warnings that we've got in place right now. And for those of you watching, what we're going to do is pull down the audio here since the tornado warning has been allowed to expire. And then you can just keep watching and you'll see things moving around. If additional warnings pop out that we feel the need to break on in, we will most definitely do that and keep you informed of what's going on. Again, before I sign off completely as far as the audio side for this time around, really monitoring this for you folks in Sikeston and Dexter and off into places like Charleston, East Prairie, Morley, Orion, Chaffee. This line of storms is rapidly developing basically from Poplar Bluff on into Advance. That is a Puxico area, rapidly developing storms as of right now. That we're monitoring and keeping a very watchful eye on. Again, 30, 40 minutes ago, they weren't on the radar at all, and now they are. So we're watching that. We will keep you informed of what's going on here on Show Me Live.